All right. Well, hi. Thank you for joining us for this last session. My name is Todd Byers, and I am the program coordinator for the brand new Phoenix Rise program at Fred K. Marshman Technical College. Rise stands for Remarkable Individuals Seeking Employment. So, one thing about our program is it is one of the 5 agencies that is supposed to be talked at every IEP meeting. So if you have a child with an IEP or if you are a student with an IEP, at every IEP, you're supposed to be provided information on vocational rehabilitation, agencies for persons with disabilities, Florida Center for Student Unique Abilities, which is me, and DASL, which is the Disability Achievement Center for Independent Living, and Division of Blind Services. So before I talk about my program specifically, I want to talk about the background and the funding of my program. So this program was the Florida Center for Student Unique Abilities is at University of Central Florida, and it was created by law in 2016, and it established the center, is what they call it, FCSUA. And what they do is they support all of these programs across the state of Florida. And right now we're 33 of them. So we're super excited to be opening our doors for this fall term coming up for 2015, 2025. But what's really cool about this is these are actually college programs. And what's really neat is I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second, but this is really changing the narrative for students with intellectual abilities being able to access post-secondary education. And the reason why I got into this is my whole background was in transition, and it was very challenging for me to sit with families at IEP meetings and talk about the limited opportunities for students with intellectual disabilities to pursue post-secondary education. So I found out about this a couple years ago, and with the great team at Fred K. Marshman Technical College, we were able to get the grant across the line, and here we are. So we're on the right under the technical colleges, and so what's really cool about these is if you wanted to learn like a technical skill, like ours are focused on HVAC or culinary or cosmetology or early childhood. These technical colleges are the program for you. But if you wanted to learn more about going on to campus life, like University of Central Florida has one and University of South Florida, and that's more of the dorm experience and the on-life campus. So you get to be in the dorms and experience college. And so you're more auditing classes instead of earning certifications. One is not better than the other. They are both really wonderful opportunities. It's just what your students and your family want to do. So I just wanted to give you an idea that we are part of a bigger network, and now we are plugged in here and we have our own Pasco County FPCTP, which stands for Florida Post-Secondary Comprehensive Transition Program. So what is the Phoenix Rise program? It's an inclusive post-secondary program tailored for students with documented intellectual disabilities aimed at enhancing independent living skills, providing inclusive hands-on post-secondary education, and expanding employment opportunities. One thing about our program is we are strictly focused on employment. So to be accepted into our program, you really need to be willing to, you need to get here on your own. You need to take care of business and be willing to work after you leave. So my goal is to track students for 5 years to make sure they're gaining employment and staying actively employed. So who is eligible? So you have to have a documented intellectual disability, and this is where it kind of gets into the gray area because the federal government qualifies students with intellectual disabilities different than the state of Florida. Several years ago, the state of Florida qualified students with intellectual disabilities, made the qualifications a little more challenging. So there are students in basic ed that would not be traditionally qualified for our program that would. So I can get into the weeds about that later on, but more or less, and I want to say this with the utmost sensitivity, but anywhere, so students with this IQ of 70 or below are kind of our target area. But I also want to acknowledge that students are more than a number. And it's just because a test says something doesn't mean that they are better at this area or better than not. Everyone's individual and we all have their strengths. And so part of our program is to find students that struggle to help them be successful. So you have to be 18, you have to have earned your diploma, and you have to exit the K-12 system. And like with any program at Fred K. Marshman Technical College, you have to attend a tour. That's not our program, that's any program. So if you want to go to automotive, you want to go to welding, you schedule a tour with Kim Dunn or myself, and we go on a tour of the programs you're interested in. And then you get the link to see if you're interested in applying, and then you apply on March 10th. So guess what happens in 5 days? The application opens on March 10th, and we're accepting applicants for all of our programs. So, what qualifies? I kind of talked about this. There's a federal definition. I can get into the weeds with you about that afterwards. But what we are looking for is it's on the IEP. A lot of our documentation might be a little bit outdated. And this is where if you have, if you're going to college anywhere at PHSC, at other places like University of South Florida, everyone needs some kind of medical documentation. So the IEP will get you in the door, but you need some kind of diagnosis from a medical provider, such as a physician or a psychologist. And that's where VR comes in because those tests can be very expensive. So if you work with vocational rehabilitation and you meet with that counselor, getting you a psychological evaluation to determine your needs for college is something that they can qualify for you. So if you have an IEP or if you have a 504, this is something that you automatically qualify for. And I strongly suggest I'll show you the number at the end of our presentation and where that is. So just connecting with them because they're a great agency. It's a government agency, so it doesn't run as smoothly as it should. But I've seen VR change lives, and I really would like you to at least reach out to them and get more information. So our program's pretty neat because all the programs at Marchman are called career certificate programs. So all these cosmetology, culinary, early childhood, these are called career certificate programs. And so we are creating this whole new program, and it's sanctioned by the state of Florida called Specialized Career Instruction Comprehensive. And what this program is suited for is learning what it's like to be on campus. Because if you guys remember, if you went to school or if you started a job, it's really intense to go from high school to a college level. It's a lot of rigor. So this program you get used to coming on campus, knowing where you're navigating to Marchman because we don't provide transportation. So I'm getting used to going to campus, walking around. We don't have we have to get your lunch, getting home on time, and everything's done by clock hour. So this is a good way for you to access the campus and learn some skills before you go into this stage two, cosmetology, professional arts, and early childhood. So it's a really good way. So I'm gonna kind of bop back and forth here between some slides, so bear with me. So in year one, it's a 900 clock hour class, and I'll get into what clock hours are in a second. So in this first class, you're going to be learning these career readiness and life readiness skills. So it covers areas like financial literacy, time management, and soft skills. So very few people get these skills in high school anymore. But they are so important, as you all know. So one thing that's really great is we're going to offer these students to get the first aid CPR. So if you're getting into if you want to become a coach, if you wanted to be a lifeguard, if you wanted to be doing childcare, that is a great certification to have. Also, we focus on OSHA 10. OSHA 10 is another well-recognized certification about workplace safety. So right off the bat, these students are they're coming to Marchman Technical College and earning these certifications to be more desirable to earn employment. We also getting a professional services skill professional skills and a customer service specialist skill. So that's kind of the first part of specialized career instruction, and then you start pushing out into stage two. So semester one is kind of the in-classroom instruction, making sure you're getting what it is, learning how to take notes, learning how to get study skills ready to go. And then you're going to go shadow all 5 of these programs, and then you pick 1 or 2, and then you narrow it down to 1. So I'm going to focus on cosmetology, because if you have never been to cosmetology, you need to come check out the salon at Marchman. It's amazing. It's a full functioning salon. It's really, really cool. So students in my program will start off in our program, get used to coming on campus, get these certifications, and then they're going to push into these programs like cosmetology, and they're going to be in those programs with me or a TA or someone there to support them. And if we're not going to be signal anyone out, but we're going to be there in case we need support, extra working as like a kind of a co-teach model. And then so these students will have experience in the salon working there. And so worst case, they're going to be leaving Marchman with 4 certifications and experience in a salon. And if they want to leave at that time, great. If not, they can apply and move forward into stage 2. So stage 2, you apply to be in the program altogether. So let's focus on cosmetology again. So if you are applying for cosmetology and you're not in our program, you're like everyone else. You just show up, you apply, you have to pitch yourself, it's just you. But if you've been in our program, you've been on the Marchman campus, you've been in cosmetology, you've built a relationship with that teacher, you know all the background knowledge. So they know you already. So you've already built those skills, built those relationships. And what I just know that a lot of our students are going to be really successful in this model because The teachers are going to see them for their skills and who they really are and their strengths, and help them move forward. So you kind of get a leg up at the same time. If you're not on point and you're not doing your things, then you're not going to get in. So I want to make sure it's clear that just because you participate in our program doesn't mean you automatically get into this, but you have a really good advantage to against everyone else. All these programs, things to consider. Fred K. Marshman Technical College is slightly different than the 9 through 12, where you focus on clock hours. So for specialized career instruction, the course is over when you hit 900 clock hours. So you clock in and you clock out. So if you're late every day, you're not going to make your clock hours. So cosmetology is a 1,200 clock hour class. It's in 1 year, but it's a lot faster pace. Early childhood is 600 clock hours. That's done in a semester. Patient care tech is done in a semester. So just to be aware that our classes are slightly different than like semesters. They kind of line up that way, but it's done by clock hour instead of by semester. So the thing that's really cool about our program is this: if you're accepted, you receive a scholarship. So the Phoenix Rise program will cover any of your educational experiences. So I'm going to back up real quick. So that's our stage one. And then if you get accepted into stage two, you get a second scholarship. So both of these are covered. So kind of like the Phoenix Rise program's the umbrella over all of these career certificate programs. So that's that. If you have any questions about these programs, I'm going to hop over, hold on to them real quick. I'm going to hop over real quick and show some more about some other things real fast. So when you're getting accommodations at the secondary level, it's very important that you have documentation. So what I need you to focus on is, let's see here, it's giving me trouble. Thank you for all your patience. There it is. So vocational rehabilitation. And so I have always been on the west side of the campus. So there's one on the east side too, but Voc Rehab, they will help you get that medical documentation. You're more than welcome to get it on your own, but it's hard to know where to go and things like that. But VR can help you pay for it and also help you take care of it. So this is the Voc Rehab office right here that I'm used to. And there's one in Dade City too. So if you're on the east side of the county, there's one over there too. But I'm going to talk about the one here. So you go there. The best thing is to call this number 727-484-1430 and ask to come to their intake meetings on Wednesday. So what you do is you go there and you meet with a counselor and you kind of determine what your work goals are. So if, for example, if you pick cosmetology, they will help you pay for books or uniforms or even transportation, like give you bus passes, or they can even, I've heard them paying for driver's ed classes, because no matter what it is, if it ties to your education, they will help fund it. It is based on taxes, so they might not cover all of it, but they can cover some of it and they'll make the connection. So the reason why I wanted to show you that is then you go to places like this. So this is PHSC. Everywhere you go, including at Fred K. Marshman, there's an accessibility services center. So what I want you to do is when you graduate high school, that May, woo, excited June, you're having it, you're ready to go, enjoy yourself and have a great time. But before you start in August, you need to reach out to this Accessibility Services Center and make sure that you connect with them and say, hi, I'm so and so. I have an IEP in high school. How am I able to get my accommodations? So it's very important that you do that, because everyone has a different service. Everyone has an accessibility services center, but they all have slightly different requirements. So PHSC has one. As you can see here, I have one at USF. There's another one here. They all legally have to provide you protections, but they all have different requirements to get those. So it's imperative that you come, and here's SPC. So they all have these things, but they will not take your IEP only. You have to have some kind of medical documentation. So that's where it's really important to do that over the summer. So when you are getting ready to start, this is already set up. So it's a really cool thing. My program has the same thing. And one thing I wanted to tell you about our program is um, we do have Accessibility Services Center. Amanda DeTibris is in charge of accommodations at our campus. So even if you have an IEP, you meet with her and you get a Workforce 504 and you have accommodations there. But it's all about self-identifying. And what that means is in high school or K-12, we are out, we're seeking, we're looking for to support people. And I can tell other teachers that you work with that this student has um, extended time, or I need to pull them out so they can test in a quiet location. In college, when you leave the K-12 system, it's illegal to ask people about their disability. So it's really important that you self-identify with one of these, with the accessibility coordinator or the accessibility service center, so they can help you to get your accommodations, because I'd rather you have what you need and not need it than hit the ground and realize you're way over your head and then start from behind. So I'm going to ask Kelsey to go ahead and stop recording. And then if you guys have any specific questions, feel free to jump in here and ask any questions you'd like, okay? Or